Temporal observation should not be an immersive, interactive experience. Ever! The exhaustive, sweat-drenched, near-death, and thoroughly humiliating field notes of Dr. Vexar Thalor, formerly chief temporal ethnographer, now permanently demoted to mud-caked survivor, professional sweat factory, official galactic laughingstock, and honorary member of the Texas Desert's reality comedy roast. I am, or rather was, Dr. Vexar Thalor, Chief Temporal Ethnographer of the Galactic Observers Consortium, Class 9 scholar in primate societal dynamics. I spent my illustrious cycles floating in orbital luxury, sipping nutrient tea refined from 17 rare nebula blossoms, while smugly dissecting primitive civilizations from a distance that made them look like charming ants in a terrarium. Fieldwork? That was for expendable interns who hadn't yet realized dignity was a thing. The universe, upon overhearing this arrogance, apparently choked on its own cosmic coffee, laughed until it wheezed, and deliberately drop-kicked our ship into a cascade failure that deposited us in 1834 Texas, with Jax Harlan, in August, during a hot year so hot it could melt ego while cheerfully frying eggs on rocks. Jax is a human family tree disaster. Spanish missionaries, French smugglers, famine-fleeing Irish who cursed in 3 languages, land-grabbing Germans who measured everything twice and argued once. He'd never touched actual Earth soil until the pod hit swamp, yet he spouts their legends like a malfunctioning jukebox stuck on tall tale mode with a twang accent learned from old holovids that sounds real, till you're really there. The escape pod landed with cosmic exuberance in a swamp somewhere near Louisiana, where it sank with a belch that sounded suspiciously like laughter. The beacon, displaying the situational awareness of a caffeinated squirrel, yeeted itself all the way to El Paso. "Just a casual summer stroll," Jax grinned, as if heat stroke were a minor footnote. I, a pinnacle of scholarly hubris, declared it trivial. Reader, I was wrong on a planetary scale. The swamp's unwelcome committee, now serving extra spicy spite. Humidity, 198%. Mosquitoes the size of fighter drones with PhDs in bloodletting. Alligators lounging like jaded mafia dons, smoking invisible cigars and judging our life choices. Jax watched the pod vanish. "Well, Cousin Vex, time for our leisurely constitutional." "Trivial," I proclaimed, chin elevated like a malfunctioning antenna. He snorted. "Trivial like challenging a cottonmouth to a grudge-holding contest?" 50 paces later, the undisputed heavyweight champion of grudges arrived. No polite gape, no warning hiss, just one thick, armored serpent slithering toward my boots with the serene confidence of an assassin who's already spent the fee. Archives listing, defensive, displays white mouth when cornered. This specimen had clearly burned the textbook and used the ashes to line its nest. It advanced like I'd personally foreclosed on its swamp condo. Jax grabbed a branch the size of a small tree. "Back slow, don't run. Pretend you're not a walking snack cake." I retreated with the grace of a terrified academic. It definitely was not like a drunken crane in full retreat. Disregard contrary reports. The snake followed. 50 meters. 100. It was practically humming the funeral march in B minor. Jax finally brandished the branch like a demented orchestra conductor, smacked it against the ground, attempting to growl with intermittent terror crackling through. "Get, you vindictive spaghetti with opinions!" It paused, flicked its tongue in what was unmistakably a sneer, then vanished, probably to update its revenge blog and fellow Cottonmouths on the retreating clown snack cakes. Jax wiped sweat. "Family swore Cottonmouths nurse grudges longer than elephants with spreadsheets. I figured it was hyperbole. Nope. That fellow wanted your ankle monogrammed in permanent venom." Big thicket, nature's overbooked death maze. Pines tall enough to high-five satellites. Moss dripping like the forest had a crying problem. Cicadas screaming like emergency klaxons possessed by opera divas. Feral hogs charged one night. We repelled them with firebrands. looking like the world's worst fire dancing troupe auditioning for a circus that had already rejected us twice while trying to climb trees with limbs that started in another vertical zip code. A cougar paced us the next day, tail twitching like a countdown to surprise dinner o'clock. And we didn't have a cougar clock. Family called it the Texas Backbite Special, Jax whispered. Fangs in your spine with a speed bump named the back of your neck. That's why those hairs stand up. They're trying to relocate to another galaxy before the show. I spent the night clutching a stick and inventing new religions and deities on the spot, praying to them all simultaneously. Caddo hospitality, pity disguised as generosity. Red Eagle studied my skin, which by now was roughly the color of printer paper left in the sun. Irlandés? Jax. Si, mi primo. Professional empire hater and amateur ghost impersonator. Grunt that might have been approval followed a gift of corn, and a warning about Comanche who apparently collect scalps like trading cards, even from the touched, his fingers pointing to my cranium. We rode off feeling like seasoned explorers. Privately, I suspected they just didn't want the pale idiots dying on their doorstep and haunting the place. Boomtown on the Brazos, where dignity goes to get drunk and never comes home. Saloon. The smoke was thick enough to support structural weight while partially hiding the atrocity of the piano being brutally assaulted in the corner, producing no known version of rhythm and sounds resembling what was possibly, maybe, once a stringed hammer instrument, or, judging by the sound, possibly a dying Corinthian wailer. This, however, remains undetermined, due primarily to lacking the time or, more accurately, courage for confirmation. Carl Mueller poured whiskey that tasted like liquid sunshine mixed with arson and regret. Tenderfeet in August? You lost, suicidal, or auditioning for Darwin Awards? Rosie in scarlet satin draped herself over Jax like a carnivorous curtain with excellent marketing. Private tour upstairs, sugar? I'll teach you a new Tejas two-step. Horizontal edition. Jax turned a shade of red previously only achieved by dying stars. Ma'am, we're, devout kinfolk enthusiasts on a strict no-fun diet. She winked at me. Your cousin looks wound tighter than a miser's purse in a tax audit. I executed a bow so stiff it could have been used as rebar. Delicate constitution, also possibly allergic to survival. The room detonated in laughter. Toothless trapper. Delicate! Boy, the sun's gonna spit roast you and sell dinner tickets! Jackalope tails, horned rabbits that sang baritone heartbreak ballads and gored cowboys for bad reviews. Horny toads spat venom with the precision of orbital railguns. I nodded sagely while calculating how many stories were 100% engineered to watch Tenderfeet's jaws drop like malfunctioning cargo bays. Hill Country, cruel 30-minute teaser trailer of paradise. Cool Springs, shade that didn't immediately try to murder us. Peaches so juicy they should have required permits. Enchanted Rock humming like it knew all our embarrassing secrets and didn't care. German farms smelled of bread and competent organization. Schneider's stuffed us with cobbler dense enough to use as ballast. Anna blushed at Jax, slipped him biscuits like they were encrypted love letters from a spy novel. I observed adolescent mating rituals with scholarly rigor while secretly plotting to steal a biscuit and/or the blushing. San Antonio, where everyone's loaded and looking for an excuse. Missions crumbling like my self-esteem. Alamo squatting like a stubborn, heavily armed toad. Tejanos and Anglos exchanging glares that could slice steel. A cavalry sergeant interrogated us like we'd personally invented rebellion and stupid choices. Jax launched into an epic Irish solidarity monologue. The sergeant let us pass, saying, "Vio con Dios," then muttering about more loco gringos who talk too much and probably die soon. I whispered, "Your family stories about glorious independence?" Jax, starting to think they edited out the part where everybody's perpetually one sneeze away from a bloodbath. Storms and the Devil's River, nature's blockbuster disaster comedy. Entering from stage southeast, hurricane leftovers, rain falling sideways out of sheer spite, tornadoes twerking across the plains like intoxicated whirlwinds with rhythm issues, plucking things up, random little stuff like whole trees and tossing them away like lunch leavings from God's own fingers. Not to be missed from the show, Devil's River pulled its signature prank. Bone dry, then instant chocolate milk tsunami complete with special effects wagons and trees. We scrambled canyon walls like oversized geckos escaping a bet we lost with gravity. Jax. Family called it the Devil's practical joke. They lied. It's the Devil's entire stand-up tour with pyrotechnics. Badlands, where hope goes to get mugged, beaten, and left for vultures. Mesquite skeletons doing dramatic poses, dust devils moonwalking in celebration, sidewinders practicing invisibility in every shady spot. Shade also booked solid by diamondbacks and cougars rehearsing surprise parties with extra fangs. Water, non-existent. Lips cracked like ancient fault lines, tongues swollen to bratwurst proportions. We staggered like extras in a zombie apocalypse shot on a budget. Then, a shimmering miracle pond. We lunged like starving philosophers at the meaning of life. Jax scooped. I leaned in, then he hiss, vex, abort mission. Corpses, everywhere. Bloated coyote, deer, longhorn, all wearing identical, I can't believe I fell for this expressions. Flies through a rave. Pond smelled like Poison's signature cologne, ode to false hope. We backed away performing synchronized dry heave choreography worthy of galactic ballet. I croaked. Your family mentioned Texas running a Ponzi scheme with water? Jax wheezed. Thought that was exaggeration. Starting to think every family story was the Disney version rated G for grandma's lying through her teeth. Wagon train. Brief salvation followed by premium chaos package. 3 Conestogas. Grimes family plus Silas, who communicated exclusively in tobacco spit and grunts. Pa Grimes. You boys look like death's warm-up act. Fort Stockton? We boarded like shipwreck survivors discovering a luxury cruise, by comparison. The children stared. Kid asked, Mister, you a ghost? I croaked through what had been vocal cords before they were sanded down to what probably resembled something more like fringed, ragged gorges. Professional apprentice, currently unionizing with heat stroke. Silas. Badlands kill faster than Comanche. You're lucky. Universe. Hold my beer and watch this while giggling with wicked glee. Comanche, Apache, and the greatest improv bloodbath in history. Comanche crested the horizon, feathers streaming, war cries cranked to 11, looking like the cover art for Apocalypse Weekly. Wagons circled, rifles primed, prayers outsourced to professionals. Then Apache detonated from a side arroyo like the universe's surprise guest stars, charging the Comanche with enthusiastic disapproval. Not to save us. Never that. Apache wanted Comanche scalps for their collection. Added the wagons, Comanche wanted wagons full of stuff. Apache decided, why choose? Comanche updated their shopping list to include Apache scalps as fashionable accessories. While they negotiated priorities with extreme prejudice and flying arrows, Grimes cracked the whip like a man possessed. Move, you glorified lawn ornaments! Wagons launched into a bouncy, organ-jarring getaway that redefined off-road. Arrows zinged like rejected hornets. One Comanche vaulted aboard. Silas politely introduced his face to a rifle butt in 4K slow motion. We rocketed away, leaving 2 tribes to their spontaneous deathmatch battle royale, complete with live audience of vultures circling like theater critics whose dinner delivery was running late. Hours later, under a cloudless plasma torch-lit sky full of satisfied buzzards. Grimes. Never thought I'd owe my hair to Apache. Jax, laughing until it hurt. Texas, equal opportunity attempted homicide via deprivation and inventive star-grade furnace. Now with surprise cameo crossovers and bonus scalping action. Me, internally. Archives never listed intertribal feud as unpaid getaway driver. Revise planetary threat level to absurdly enthusiastically lethal. Do not engage. Ever. Fort Stockton to El Paso. The final delirious victory lap. Adobe walls. Water that didn't immediately try to kill us from a well with abundant mud seasoning. Absolutely delicious at that point, by the way. And soldiers too hungover to care. Traded sweat equity for horses and limped westward like survivors of a prank war with a vindictive planet through a heat-shimmering, galactic-sized expanse where moisture was only a theoretical concept. Finally, Rio Grande shimmering like the universe's final troll. El Paso Presidio baking. Hidden Arroyo. Beacon joyfully retreating from us riding the insufferably delighted heat waves, pulsing like it had been live-streaming our suffering for galactic reality live-stream event and wanted an extended show. The beacon finally, I am sure, unwillingly, ceased its eternally long retreat surfing of the heat waves. The retrieval beam wrapped us in cool, glorious, ego-restoring light, pretending it had been worriedly, impatiently awaiting our arrival. Personal note. Professional, experienced observational opinion. It's a cruel and deceitful inanimate object, fully unworthy of further trust. Jax gazed back at the infernal landscape. Family stories didn't do it justice, he said quietly. They made Texas sound big and wild, left out the part where it tries to murder you with Broadway-level production values every single day, like a hostile theme park run by sadistic comedians with an unlimited budget and absolutely non-existent safety regulations. I, once an insufferably superior orbital theorist, could only nod, weakly, gratefully, with sand still occupying anatomical territories that defy both physics and decency, revealing locations I didn't realize existed. Every assumption obliterated. Cottonmouth vendettas real, false poisoned ponds real, jackalopes possibly 38% real on weekends, human stubbornness absurdly, hilariously, cosmically real. My scholarly certainty? Evaporated, flash-boiled, and served back to me as humble pie with extra dessert topping. Temporal observation should remain safely, distantly, very distantly, remotely orbital. Immersive interactive experience? Never. Again. Ever. On pain of being the universe's eternal punchline. End humiliating field report, Dr. Vexar Thalor, surviving, sunburned to lobster cosplay, humbled beyond recognition, and eternally convinced Texas is the galaxy's favorite long-running murder comedy special, with me as the recurring guest star nobody asked for, requesting office position at least 3 star systems from Earth. On second thought, make that 5 systems minimum.